Hey guys, welcome to the Sunday series. This is Brett. We're going to talk today a little bit about back problems. In particular, a lot of us will have back problems at some point in our life. In fact, 70% of Americans will have back problems at some point this year. Now, we have a lot of underlying causes for why we have back problems, but for a lot of us, it can be due to posture. So as we kind of stand up, we've gotten into this rounded position where the shoulders round forward, so the chest slumps. My spine starts to push back a little bit, so I'm rounding here, and then I've lost engagement from my hips. Now, this is the most common thing that we see, that sometimes as we're sitting, we have shoulders rounded, which means the spine's rounded. Sometimes for a lot of us, we're favoriting one side more than another because we carry things on one side, or we hold things on one side. Moms can be really, sometimes hip adjusted here. And this is sometimes it's going to lead to some underlying causes with back problems. So no matter where we're feeling discomfort, a lot of this can have different reasons and different causations, but it's up to us to fix it. So there's a lot of different underlying reasons why you might have back problems. And this is where seeing a chiropractor, seeing a PCP, a general practitioner, or seeing some sort of doctor will advise you on the best way to maybe fix that. But if you like to do this a little bit more with some corrective exercise and stretching, let's give it a go. So there's an action plan that we need to take. No matter where we're feeling discomfort in the back, if it is muscular, it's probably a dysfunction, which means we probably have some real key areas that we need to examine. We need to examine your glutes, we need to examine your quads, we need to examine your hip flexors, your hamstring complex, and your calves. So one of the things that I would kind of recommend first and foremost is maybe doing some self-myofascial release. So what we call is foam rolling. Now this is generally going to take us about maybe 30 seconds to about 2 minutes per body part, depending on how used you're doing to do this. Now I have a Burn Boot Camp black foam roller. It's going to be a little bit dense. What I'm going to try to do is work my way from my glutes, and I have different glute muscles, down into my hamstrings, down into my calves, and I might finally switch on over into my quads. So what I would do is I mount this and then kind of dig this in a little bit and just try to find little tension spots. And as I find little tension spots, my goal is to try to push down and maybe rub that out for about 15 to 20 seconds and let that muscle fully envelop and release. So with my glutes, I might angle my glutes one way, I might go a little bit more head on, and then I would hit the other side. From there, I might roll down into my hamstrings. Now you have different hamstring muscles here that all correspond differently. So I could essentially find that foam roller, and in about 30 seconds here, I might roll through the outer edge by pointing my toe out. I might roll into the inner edge by rolling this hip forward. And I might really roll into the inner part of my leg by just rolling my toe across my body. And then I would find that on the other side, find little tension spots and releasing. For the calves, I can do this on one leg, or I can do this on both legs. Hands up, toes slightly out to the side, getting the outer edges, and then maybe toes rocking in to get into the inner edges. Then my quad is going to be something else that I'm going to want to release. Hip flexors sometimes are a little bit harder to release with this foam roller, so we might activate them in a different way, but I might go straight onto either the hands or the elbows, going on one leg or both legs, turning those toes out, finding little spots of tension, digging in, rolling through it a little bit, and then kind of rolling back in with those toes, maybe angling those hips a little bit more. So I've gotten a little bit of the muscles now primed to activate the right way. Now these muscles all coordinate to the back muscles. So from there, let's also go into some mobility type of exercises. So one of the mobility exercises that we can do is something called cat camel. So hands underneath our spine, we're gonna tip our tailbone back, and then we're gonna roll through. So I'm rolling my spine. Now this might not be something we're super coordinated with to start with. This can also be done from a wall, can also be done standing. But this is something that's super important to learn how to move those hips and mobilize those hips. Now, if you're having a little bit more back discomfort, like maybe some disc problems, this may not be appropriate for you. But let's move on. Scorpions are gonna be something we're gonna go face down. So what I'm gonna do, face down, arms out to the side, I'm gonna lift one leg up and just reach back and try to tap. And I'm gonna go side to side here, maybe letting my hips release, letting my shoulders release. This is actually a really great stretch for your shoulders as well as your chest muscles too. But I'm trying to lift that leg up and kind of rotate it up and over. So this would be a really great stretch that we can get into, or this would be a great mobility type of exercise that we can also do. From there, you might do something like down dog to child's pose. So what I can do is I can flip myself down to down dog, take a nice big stretch there, and then flip this forward. This is gonna teach me how to mobilize my hips. This is also gonna teach me how to stretch out my low back and also stretch out my abdominis rectus, which is gonna be my ab muscles. Now, if I wanna make this a little bit more tense, I'm gonna go full down dog, and then I might go knees down, or I might just dive right into that up dog. Thread the needle is gonna be a little bit more of that upper mobility T-spine. I'm on all fours here. I'm rotating one arm and maybe holding that stretch, or maybe not, maybe working on mobility, or maybe focusing on that shoulder release. And then alligators, little T-spine rotator. You guys will stack your knees up to your chest, hands here, and then we're gonna open, and then we're gonna close. So guys, these are about 5 to 6 ways that you guys can mobilize your back. Now, how would I utilize this? So after you guys have foam rolled, what I might do is I might take about 10 to 12 reps, maybe 5 to 7 reps if you're never having done these before, but about 10 to 12 reps, and maybe going through this entire circuit just really, really quickly, maybe once or twice before you work out. That way your back's a little bit more mobilized. And then from there, if you need to strengthen your back, we can do things like bridges. So learning how to push out of our heels, learning how to push into our glutes. We have our heels close to our butt. I'm gonna wiggle my toes here just a little bit. I've got my heels down, hands on the floor, and I'm just gonna lift and engage those hips up. Now as I can start to press through my toes and my heels, I'm gonna get a little bit more of those hamstrings, but those heels are gonna connect a little bit more to my glutes, and that's where we wanna emphasize. Clamshells, a little bit more of the outer edge of the glutes. We're gonna stack those hips together, keeping everything nice and tight. I might take my hand right here to my hip, and that way I can help stabilize this hip. A wall assist would be a great option here. Now, eventually we would use something like a resistance band, a mini band around the knees to make this harder, but we want to focus on the mobility aspect of it. And again, we would repeat this per side. Fire hoses, same thing, a little bit different. We're actually gonna lift and engage that hip up. Now my hip's gonna wanna try to rotate here. So doing this against a wall, it might be a really, really important thing. But let's make sure that pelvis is locked down. Now if I need to, again, I'm just gonna increase or decrease my range of motion and just focus on keeping that pelvis locked down. And then finally, bird dogs and Supermans. Guys, we stack those hips up, opposite arm, opposite leg. This is gonna create length and more importantly, mobility for that spine. And as I can try to hold this, I'm gonna build up greater strength. An option here might be coming down to the floor, extending those arms, extending those legs. This is your swimmer exercise. This is your Superman exercise. And that might be a harder option for us as we develop strength. Now, I might go very, very quickly here, just body weight, 10 to 12 reps for maybe 1 to 2 sets, just to help us develop and build strength. Now, as we want to, maybe we can increase those reps, or maybe we increase them in different options by adding bands and adding little points of resistance, but that is something we need to build up to. And then finally, guys, as we need to now lengthen the body out, something like a kneeling hip flexor stretch. We're gonna do a knee behind the toe. I'm gonna lean into this hip as much as I can. And as I can, I'm gonna maybe walk this leg forward a little bit more and really get low and drop into that hip. Now I can also extend this back leg for a more intense stretch, but if my goal here is to lengthen, then that's where I am. We would do this per side, and then you could either go 90-90 hip flexor hurdler, or you could flip on over into pigeon. Now this is a really great hip and more importantly, great glute release. It's also gonna help you guys unload into your back. I might hold this stretch a little bit longer. All these stretches may be 30 to about 45 seconds, but this pigeon stretch, hold for about 1:15. You'll really enjoy it. Lying twist. So, arms to the floor. You guys can just let those legs gently rock out to one side, and then maybe turn your eye gaze to about your opposite side. You can also extend this top leg out for a little bit more work into that glute as you want to. A different option might be a seated twist where you're taking it up and over and just gently pulling. And then finally, child's pose is gonna help you, again, just lengthen out that back, lengthen out those lats, lengthen out those shoulders, and just kind of get yourself into it. So what I would say is, guys, do these for about 45 seconds, really, really quickly on both sides, or actually slow it down a little bit and just make sure you lengthen. So guys, here's an action plan. Do this 1 to 2 times a week as you're having back discomfort. That way you guys can initiate the right muscle groups. You guys can mobilize the entire portion of your spine that's being affected. You guys can strengthen the different portions of your spine, your glute complex that need to be brought up. And then finally, guys, you can lengthen and correct anything that's going on. Guys, this is Back Pain 101. Hope this is helpful. Thank you guys so much.